One of the beautiful things about being me these days is that I have gotten to not only meet, but have become good friends with other people that are geniuses in this leadership stuff. And one of my good buddies has stopped by to hang out with us. He's going to be with us at the EntreLeadership Summit in a few weeks. And we're going to have him stop by here in the studio. He's going to eventually be my neighbor out here, I guess. And in the meantime, we get to hang out. His name is Pat Lencioni. And the work you're doing right now, and have done a bunch of and we've been talking about it, I guess, for you and I have been talking about it for 3 years. I don't know how long you've been talking about it in the public eye. This idea, the 6 types of the working genius, this book, this material, this assessment, a better way to understand your gifts, your frustrations, and your team. You're having a lot of fun with this.
I think I never knew I would be having so much fun after all the years I've been doing this. This is like a whole new, I feel like I work at a startup again, and this is the biggest thing we've ever done. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is the book that sold the most and everything, but when this came out, Cody, one of my coworkers, said this will be bigger than that, and it's proving to be.
I've taken 2 of our leadership teams back through, and Daniel, my son, who's the president, took a couple of our leadership teams back through 5 Dysfunctions just recently, because we realized we were violating some of it, and we just said, okay, we got to reset, rebuild the trust, rebuild the cohesiveness in the room. And 5 Dysfunctions, it's become, it's a bellwether in the industry. Most people out there running businesses know 5 Dysfunctions by now, or silos. Yep. You coined the term, I guess. I don't know if I heard it before that, but we've kicked a lot of silos down around here over the years, and part of it using the vernacular from that book. But this working genius stuff, I just have seen you light up when you're talking about it. You're having a lot of fun with it.
I am, because, part of it is just because it has explained things to me about my life and my work that I've been carrying around in a bad way for 30 years, Dave. It explained why I failed at my first job in a way I never understood. It explained why I hated mowing the lawn with my dad as a kid, and I felt guilty for that, and I shouldn't.
When I heard you talk about it from stage the first time, and I got the whole picture, and I was going through the assessments, which we'll talk about in a minute, I remember thinking about, the old Jim Collins stuff from Good to Great. This helps you get on the right bus and helps you get on the right seat on the right bus, and that is vital. That's why you lost the first job. It's why I got fired from one of my jobs early in my life, and I still don't know why, except that I was in the wrong seat and I probably needed to be fired.
Yeah, it's funny, the humble, hungry, smart that you talked about,
yep.
That's to let somebody inside the building,
yeah.
They better be that. But sometimes they're humble, hungry, and smart, or they fit the core values, they belong at the company, but they're just in the wrong seat. And like one of the first people that used this stuff was the CEO of a company who was going to fire his head of sales. And it was this woman who was a cultural fit. She had been making her numbers for years. He loved her. Her customers loved her. Her sales staff loved her. But he had to revise the sales strategy. And he said, you got to figure this out. And she couldn't figure it out. And I was about to let her go. And they did Working Genius. And he said, oh my gosh, she doesn't have the geniuses to do that, but she has other geniuses. And as a result, they borrowed somebody from another department. He came in, helped them figure out the sales strategy. And he said, I was about to fire one of my best performers because she didn't have some skills. And I thought maybe that meant she didn't belong here anymore. He was like mortified that he almost made that mistake.
Yeah, so understanding these blind spots on a team or a competency issue, it really can turn loose a whole organization.
We see this happening. The stories, Dave, that we're hearing about, companies that are seeing and this is real, this is not theoretical, they're seeing their productivity go up by exponentially, only because they're finally realizing why some people thrive in certain situations. So we had a team, this lighting company, and it was a pretty big company. It wasn't like a massive company, but it wasn't just a couple people. They had probably 100 employees. And they were pumping out 6 new ideas a year. That's it. And they had 3 teams that were working on new products. And they never understood why they didn't work well together and why things took so long. The leaders of these 3 different teams got together and did Working Genius and realized they were all completely different. One was really good at new ideas, one was good at activating things, and one was good at implementing things. But they were working separately. So they eliminated the 3 departments, brought them all together, changed the way they worked based on getting this stuff done. They went from 6 ideas a year to 6 a month. And that's not like a theoretical thing or anything touchy-feely. They said, we are putting out more products in less time in ways we could never imagine, all because we didn't understand why we needed each other and we needed to rethink the way we worked based on our working geniuses.
Well, we've all seen the benefit in a completely different way, but in the same way, of taking something like DISC. And
Right.
just the benefit of knowing yourself, or Strength Finders, or Myers-Briggs, all these different things. You guys have used Myers-Briggs a lot at the table group.
Yep.
We've been more DISC over at Ramsey, but either way, it doesn't matter. But this is different in that this is how, it's not a personality evaluation, it's how work gets done.
Exactly. And we love all those tools. I was a junkie for those things too. But what we didn't, like I'm an ENFP in Myers-Briggs and I'm an ID in the DISC. I know my stuff on those, but it didn't say what kind of job I should do. Even as the CEO, like what's the kind of work I'm best suited to as CEO? And when we came up with Working Genius, not because we thought the world needed another tool, but we were trying to figure out why I was grumpy. I mean, I was coming to work getting grumpy a lot.
Well, we need an assessment for that.
There you go. And that's where this came from. Somebody said, why are you grumpy? And I said, I don't know. I love this company. I love everybody I work with. But sometimes I come in here and at noon, I'm kind of complaining. And it was because I was doing stuff that I wasn't meant to do. And so I realized that. And I said, gee, when I'm doing these other two things, I'm on fire. And it's good for the company. And there's other people that are better than me at this. If I gave him that job, his productivity is going through the roof. If I'm not doing it all the time, my productivity is going through the roof. We reorganized our company and things just have exploded.
So there's 6 working geniuses.
Yes.
Which one?
And
Tell me about them.
they're all required, by the way. If you're building a new house, planning a family vacation, launching a company, releasing a new product, any kind of work requires all 6.
Okay.
And so the first one is up at 50,000 feet, and it's called the Genius of Wonder. And this is a person, and this is one of your least favorite things to do. And it's not one of my favorite either, but it's required. And that's somebody has to sit around and stare at the sky and go, maybe things could be better. I don't know. I think something might be missing. And you ask them what, and they go, I don't know. But they ask the big question. This whole tool came about because Amy, this woman that worked with me, said, why are you grumpy? And I said, I don't know. She goes, I don't know either, but I'm curious. Somebody asks the question, maybe we should do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
the second one is what?
Invention. That's the person who hears that question and says, I want to figure out an answer. Give me a whiteboard and a pen, and I'll come up with something new. I love that. I live to do that.
Yeah, you are, for sure. That's you. No question. And the third one is?
The third one is one that you and I share, and that's called discernment. And that is instinct, intuition, gut feel, integrative thinking. It's not magic. It's being able to look at a problem, and this is what you do every day on the radio, and it's so dang fun to listen to. And somebody tells you a few details, and you can see the pattern, and you go, I think this is the answer. And usually, you're right, and other people can't do that. It's integrative thinking. It's like looking at things in a different way, and it looks like it's magic. It's like your gut feel, your instinct. It's just you can take a bunch of variables and make sense of them very quickly, and it's just good judgment.
Third or fourth one?
Fourth one is one I was doing all the time, which I don't like to do all the time. You and I both can do it, but if you'd have to do it every day, and that's galvanizing. That's pushing people out of their comfort zone constantly, not on the radio, not in a speech, but having to walk into somebody's office and go, you got to do better, you got to do better, you got to do better. What about this? What about this? Come on, you guys. I don't want to have to do that.
I've already told you once to do it. Why do I have to tell you again? Yeah.
And there's some people, Dave, that love to keep reminding people.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'll do that.
Yep. Okay. And the fifth one?
The fifth one is called enablement, not alcoholism or drugs, because it's the kind of people, and these people are magic on a team. They love to do whatever you ask them to do. There are people in the world, Dave, you can win. This is not, you and I both have this as our least. Mm-hmm. When somebody walks in and says, I need your help, I don't go, yeah, whatever you need, I'll do it the way you want to. I'm like, what do you need? And what do you want me to do? I'm kind of suspicious. There are other people, Dave, that wake up in the morning and all you do is you say, hey, I need your help. And they're like, you let me know and they're glue on teams. We have them all around us in our organizations.
They're very helpful people.
Oh, yeah. Truly. And it's a genius. It's not just that they're nice. They're good at helping on your terms.
The way they're wired. Yeah.
Yep.
And the last one?
Tenacity. This is one of yours, and this is my lowest. So this is your top and my lowest, Dave. Okay. And that is people with tenacity like to just get things done, cross things off a list, plow through obstacles, and just finish. Like you and I are building, you're having a house built and I'm having a house built. And you're like, I'm on top of that guy and I know what it's going to cost and I know when it's going to get done. And here's the thing, and you do that. If you couldn't do that, you'd be very unhappy.
Oh, and he would be too.
I got none of that, Dave. I would have written none of my books if somebody hadn't made me finish them.
Yeah, I'm the to-do list checker, for sure. No question about it. Project management for me is about completion.
Right. So you have discernment and tenacity. Those are your two geniuses.
Yeah.
You're called the judicious accomplisher. So you live to accomplish things, but you have really good judgment about what should get done and what shouldn't. You can cut through the BS and look at things and go, okay, that's what's most important. Here's the way to get there. Get it done. No excuses. And we say judicious. And by the way, I should tell people listening to this that we used you in developing this tool.
Yeah, I was one of the first people to take the test.
You are absolutely. We said, who do we know that we know so well that we can give them the assessment, we know what it's probably going to say, and we can reverse and see the pattern.
Make sure that it's right.
Right. You know what people like you have in common? And we know a lot of these people. When we say judicious, it means they have good judgment. And they told us this wasn't you. Another person like this said, and they can be a little bit judgmental when people are slacking.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they're like,
Definitely.
I have no patience for that.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's DT. My son, Connor, is a DT, and it's the same thing. And you see these commonalities, and people go, yeah, that's totally me.
Wow. The project, the book, the assessment is called Working Genius. I was one of the original lab rats.
You were?
And proud of it. I don't know what noise a lab rat makes, but cue the lab rat noise right now. And I was that guy and proud of it. And ever since then, Ramsey has been plugged into Working Genius, and Pat's presented this to EntreLeadership Summit a couple of different times, and you'll be talking about this and other things coming up at the next EntreLeadership Summit, and is always a guest around here.